Now at 6 and streaming in CrossroadsToday.com in San Antonio, a father and son arrested in connection to the shooting deaths of a teen couple.
A student is dead and 5 others injured following a deadly school shooting in Iowa. The gunman is also dead.
And lawmakers cannot seem to agree on a border security funding plan. The latest reports from Washington this evening.
Well, the next frontal system is moving in fairly fast. As a matter of fact, you can see it right about here. It's out in West Texas, but it'll be in our area after midnight. So look for rain coming in for early on Friday. We'll have more details coming up in a moment.
2 area stars to hear their name called in April. What does that mean? I'll have that in sports.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
Officials identified the person who opened fire at Perry High School in Iowa as 17-year-old Dylan Butler, a student at the school. Criminal Investigation Assistant Director Mitch Mortved said the shooter was armed with a pump-action shotgun and a small caliber handgun. The shooter made several social media posts in and around the time of the shooting. Reports confirm a 6th grader was killed and 5 others were injured.
Of those injured, 4 of the victims are students and 1 is a school administrator. Multiple law enforcement officials confirmed the shooter died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. One mother says she is just happy to have her children back safe.
What was it like getting that phone call? Actually, it was a text message this morning from my daughter, and it was absolutely horrifying. Thank goodness. One of the worst moments of my entire life, but the best phone call I got was saying that they were okay. I'm glad that they're okay.
Today was the beginning of the 2nd semester for the Perry Community School District following the winter break. A woman from Goliad was killed on Thursday afternoon as a result of a vehicle crash. The crash was at U.S. Highway 59 and FM 1726 in Goliad County. The driver of the truck involved was checked at the scene.
Police in San Antonio arrested a 19-year-old man and his father in connection to the deaths of a couple who were soon to be a mother and father. The son, Christopher Preciado, is facing capital murder charges, while the father, 53-year-old Ramon Preciado, is facing charges for allegedly helping his son try to hide and move the bodies. Preciado is accused of killing 18-year-old Savannah Soto and 22-year-old Matthew Guerra during a drug deal gone wrong.
Through interrogating the individuals, our detectives had enough, based on what they said, there was enough information there to get a warrant signed by a judge tonight, again, to charge Christopher with capital murder and Ramon with abuse of a corpse. Again, there will be more charges pending.
Christopher and Ramon Preciado are both being held at the Bexar County Jail. Christopher's bail set at $1 million, while Ramon is being held on a $100,000 bond.
27-year-old Darian Sherman of Houston was taken into custody by Victoria County Sheriff's deputies Thursday morning. The arrest came after a brief chase following a traffic stop at U.S. Highway 59 near Burrowsville Road. Deputies spiked the tires on Sherman's vehicle. He continued on the rims until he crashed. Sherman is in the Victoria County Jail facing 6 charges, including engaging in organized criminal activity. No bond has been set.
In Victoria County, Sheriff's deputies also arrested 48-year-old Nicole Harrell Wednesday. She was arrested on the 200 block of North Bridge Street and is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. She is currently in the Victoria County Jail in lieu of a $50,000 bond.
The Victoria Office of Emergency Management is continuing to look into the source of a strong odor in Victoria County and surrounding areas. The odor was first reported in the southwest region of Victoria County. Victoria OEM is monitoring the situation. Hallettsville police made an arrest after a traffic stop on the 100 block of West 4th Street Tuesday. The driver of the vehicle, 27-year-old John Cook of Omaha, Texas, was found to have an outstanding full extradition felony warrant for cattle theft from Titus County. Cook was arrested and is in the Lavaca County Jail in lieu of $25,000 bond.
And now let's take a look at your forecast with First Warn Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis.
Thank you very much. It's fairly quiet out there, but the cloud deck is with us. But you know what? It's all going to change as soon as tonight. You go up I-10 right about here and you see Sonora right about there. The shower activity already in West Texas. This is going to be dropping through here as soon as midnight. And it looks like a soggy Friday for you. What about that and the weekend? We'll talk about it coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Mac, thank you. Nueces County flu cases are up 600% from last year. KIII reports 9 children have been admitted to Driscoll Children's Hospital alone. At this time, 4 children are in the hospital's intensive care unit. Doctors there say it's not too late to get the flu shot and that anyone showing symptoms needs to stay home.
Friday night, ABC News 2020 reports on a murder in Austin that turned into an international chase and trial. The program features exclusive interviews with the father of the convicted killer, Caitlin Armstrong, and a former friend of Armstrong who helped police catch her. 2020 investigates the details of the murder of pro cyclist Moriah Wilson, including the 43-day hunt for Armstrong that crossed international lines, and the trial that reached a guilty verdict last November. ABC News 2020 can be seen right here on KAVU TV Friday at 8 o'clock p.m. Agreeing on a problem does not mean agreeing on a solution.
That's right. The crisis at the southern border is making that very clear, as are recent efforts to address it.
America is at a breaking point with record levels of illegal immigration.
We have a broken immigration system that is the one single fact about which everyone agrees.
What lawmakers don't agree on is how to fix it. A GOP visit to Eagle Pass, Texas yesterday is emphasizing that division and renewing calls for compromise.
H.R. 2 is the necessary ingredient.
H.R. 2 doesn't have Democratic votes.
H.R. 2 would codify some Trump-era border policies, like keeping migrants in Mexico during the asylum-seeking process. Even some lawmakers who support the plan say it's doomed.
I'm negotiating with a White House that vehemently disagrees and has already said they're going to veto that, and a Democratic Senate.
Instead of H.R. 2, the White House says it wants more funding for Border Patrol agents and immigration judges. Senate negotiators are working on bipartisan changes to asylum laws and parole policies. They're also considering more power for expulsions and border shutdowns. But many House Republicans say they'll only back H.R. 2 or a bill like it. That's even though senators are discussing ideas conservatives usually support.
Our goal has been to find a practical solution to the crisis.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The Biden administration is now suing Texas over its new controversial state immigration law, which allows local authorities to arrest migrants. The administration argues the measure is an overreach because immigration is a federal matter.
Well, U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson and other congressional Republicans were holding a news conference Wednesday in Eagle Pass. A family of 5 migrants could be seen from the conference were crossing the Rio Grande. KSAT reports Border Patrol agents called out to the migrants in Spanish to tell them to turn around. Once the family set foot in the United States, the agents gave water to the children who were in pajamas. Then they loaded the family up in a van.
Leading us to your Veer poll this evening, you can scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, do you think Texas immigration law is unconstitutional? Yes, no, or you're not sure. According to our results, it looks like 53% stand at yes, 47% stand at no, and 0% are currently unsure.
Close vote there.
Close there. Thank you for voting. We want to hear your opinion on this. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 10. And in Arizona, a border crossing has reopened after a month-long closure. The Lukeville Port of Entry resumed operations just this morning. U.S. Customs and Border Protection closed the pedestrian and vehicle crossings on December 4th amid the ongoing migrant surge. At the time, Border Patrol said it needed to adjust personnel to help officials take migrants into custody. Operations at other ports of entry also resumed today, including the Eagle Pass International Bridge and the San Ysidro Pedestrian West Crossing in California.
A ticket worth $1 million in the July 19th, 2023 drawing for Powerball remains unclaimed, and the deadline to claim it is on Monday, January 15th. The Texas Lottery Commission said the ticket was sold in Houston. Now, if you have that ticket, you can claim the winning lottery ticket in person at any Texas Lottery Claim Center or by mail. Mail-in claims can take 8 to 12 weeks to be processed. Winning tickets are forfeited 180 days after the draw date, and unclaimed prizes revert back to the state. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell so you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. A judge unseals nearly 1,000 pages of documents relating to Jeffrey Epstein. Coming up on 25 News now at 6, the names of the prominent leaders mentioned in those documents.
Also ahead, reports indicate wage growth in Texas slowed down. Those numbers this evening. Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, and Britain's Prince Andrew are among the names appeared in the newly unsealed documents in the Jeffrey Epstein case.
This was the multimillionaire who was accused of sex trafficking before his suicide in 2019. And it's important to note the inclusion of someone's name is not an indication of wrongdoing.
Long-awaited documents finally released. The first batch of sealed court filings pertaining to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein were made public Wednesday. The documents stem from a civil defamation lawsuit brought in 2015 against Epstein's former girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell. Prominent figures, including Prince Andrew and former presidents Bill Clinton and Donald Trump, included in a 2016 deposition of Johanna Schoberg, a former employee of Epstein. She says in the document that she and Epstein had a conversation, and quote, he said one time that Clinton likes them young, referring to girls. When asked if Clinton was a friend of Epstein's, she said she understood Epstein had, quote, dealings with Clinton. Clinton has not been accused of any crimes or wrongdoing related to Epstein and has denied any kind of criminal activity. But in 2019, he admits to having flown on Epstein's private plane, but knew nothing of the financier's, quote, terrible crimes. Schoberg also recalled a time she was with Epstein on one of his planes, and pilots said he needed to land in Atlantic City. Jeffrey said, great, we'll call up Trump and we'll go to, I don't recall the name of the casino, but we'll go to the casino. She says in the deposition she never gave a massage to Trump. This is the first reference to Donald Trump, but he is not accused of any wrongdoing.
Right now, the only person who has been prosecuted is a woman, Ghislaine Maxwell, who certainly, should be behind bars. But what's interesting in this, network of all these men who've been trafficking young women and underage women for decades, and yet the only person that's been prosecuted, is a woman. There are many, many other people that, should be held accountable as well.
The documents also contain excerpts of depositions taken of Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who previously reached an out-of-court settlement in her sexual abuse lawsuit against Prince Andrew. Giuffre alleged in her deposition that Maxwell directed her to have sexual contact with people including former New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson, Prince Andrew, and tech guru Marvin Minsky. Attorneys for Ghislaine Maxwell said in a statement on Wednesday she has consistently and vehemently maintained her innocence. This is the first set of documents to be unsealed under a December 18 court order, with more expected in the coming weeks. The documents are expected to include nearly 200 names, including some of Epstein's accusers, prominent business people, and politicians.
Workers in Texas saw a year-over-year pay growth of 5.5% through December 2023, with a median annual salary of almost $57,000 for workers who've stayed in their job for the past 12 months. New data from ADP shows pay growth has slowed down in Texas from 7.8% annual growth at the end of 2022. Nationally, the year-over-year median change in annual pay has slowed every month since September 2022.
Instead of toys, a 2-year-old girl in Tennessee with a rare disease has hopes to get the gift of life.
Bryant McCormick is asking for a new kidney for his birthday.
Ooh, bright light. Say cheese.
At 18 weeks pregnant, Hope McCormack says a blood test was flagged, and later on, her baby was diagnosed with a rare birth defect called prune belly syndrome.
But we knew, no matter the outcome, we would bring him into this world and we would take the best care of him.
Now little Brian needs a new kidney to prolong his life.
He can't go much longer without it, and we've been praying for them since he was born.
Every night, Brian needs dialysis.
He has really good energy.
A kidney transplant would be life-changing.
He will be so thankful one day that someone came forward and was able to give him life.
And it would be the best birthday gift.
Don't do it.
He's 2 today.
He's barely cries, fusses. He's very happy.
They're looking for a donor with B or O blood type between the ages of 18 and 55 years old. The transplant would happen at Monroe Carroll Jr. Children's Hospital at Vanderbilt, where Brian is a patient.
The best birthday present ever, and I'm sure he would say the same thing if he could.
Vanderbilt University Medical Center is looking for living donors. The hospital's website has more information about how to find out if you or someone you know might be a match.
Victoria County Sheriff's Office K-9 Bain has received a bullet and stab protective vest. This comes from a charitable donation from nonprofit organization Vested Interest in Canines. This potentially life-saving body armor for canine officers is U.S. made and custom fitted. The program is open to U.S. dogs that are at least 20 months old and actively employed with law enforcement agencies. Each vest has a value of $1,800.
Yeah, and the dogs are called officers, so I mean, they're real. Anyway, good afternoon, everyone. It's 59 degrees, overcast skies, and rather windy. We were up to about 20, 30 miles an hour. All this getting ready for the frontal system coming in tonight. Yeah, sometime after midnight. We managed to get up to 67, and even though we've got a frontal system coming through, the temperatures tomorrow will be again in the mid-60s. It's not a cold front, it's a rain event. We're going to be talking more about that coming up in just a moment. Stay tuned. 25 News Now continues. good afternoon, everybody. The wind picked up out of the southeast. You might have noticed it this afternoon. It's getting a little gusty out there. This is all getting ready for the frontal system that we promised you on Friday, but I didn't think that it was going to be midnight on Friday because it is rolling in very fast. Now let's take a look at the cloud deck. You see it, it's all over our area. That's all going to be with us tonight. But the showers are not that far away. As a matter of fact, you can see light rain beginning to develop in the San Antonio area. But the main event is right here. The frontal system already moving into probably the Junction area, and showers are already being reported throughout much of the Panhandle. There's our storm system. Fair weather on the East Coast. Next storm for us Monday is already on the map up there in the northwest. Let's take a look at Doppler image. You can see not much happening around here, but the light rain is beginning to show up on Doppler. And here's the heaviest rain activity right about now, moving into the San Angelo area right about there. So you can say that's where the line is, and that's going to be moving across I-35 and then down into our area after midnight by sunrise. So rain is rolling in tonight. Now, you might also notice that they're getting snow up in Amarillo. If you want to drive up there and go play in the snow, you got about 10 hours to go. So anyway, here's Future Tracker. Now we're trying to figure out how much rain will we get out of this first system. And you can see how we get up to green, and that gives us a good inch of rain here. So we're hopeful that somewhere between a half an inch to an inch will be occurring with this system. Then you add in the one on Monday, and we will be obviously better than that. So let's take a look at our timing on Future Tracker here. There you can see the snow. There you can see the rain. We move forward to midnight, and by then the shower activity will be a little bit more widespread around the area, if not light rain. But the heaviest stuff is along this line, which will be coming down I-35. And then by sunrise, well, it begins to pull out of here. So we're going to say light rain will continue after sunrise till about noontime, and then it all blows away. So we'll get a westerly wind that will dry up the surface areas, but that frontal system and all that rain is pretty much gone. Notice that it's still a little chilly out there in far west Texas Panhandle. We'll get probably another little dusting of snow out of that. And as we go all the way to Sunday and all the way to Monday, there's our next storm, which will come in. This one is going to tap into some colder air. That's why we're thinking it's going to be a little chillier as we get to next week. Now here we are, and you can see how West Texas is under the gun for winter storm advisories all the way down almost halfway to Lubbock. So Lubbock, I think, is going to get spared out of that icy stuff, but not Amarillo. Tonight we'll be sparing the icy stuff. We're only going to be about 60 degrees, and tomorrow we're looking at about 70. So we'll start off with rain and overcast in the morning hours. For those of you in Port Lavaca, getting up to 66. So it's not exactly a cold front. And then in Cuero, we start off at 54, get up to 66, overcast with rain early. Then by afternoon, I believe we'll clear out. So this is moving very quickly. By Friday night, we're okay. Saturday, Sunday, we're really good. Monday is when we expect the next front after that, with cooler weather for next week. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody, we do have a QR code. Please scan that and put Crossroads a Day on your phone. Here's Karina.
Thank you, Mac. And now here's Zach Brown with your sports.
Two legends from the Crossroads saying goodbye to one fan base, but they may be saying hello to another, and it's good news. I'll have that in sports. Over in Yoakum, they are playing host to many teams from the Crossroads, and Yoakum themselves were locked in a tight one earlier this afternoon with El Campo. Towards the end of that first half, the Lady Bulldogs down 1. As time winding down, there's a foul, so this free kick coming, and Daphne Oviedo somehow finds the back of the net, and we're all squared at 1 apiece. Now in the second half, El Campo would pitch a shutout on defense while adding another goal from Megan Collins. Medicine Gaona had the goal in the first half. The Lady Ricebirds get the dub 2-1. In fact, they would actually go 2-0 on the day because they also defeated the girls from Hallettsville. So in 2 games, they gave up just 1 goal. For Yoakum, they did get a split on their day. They defeated Smithville by a score of 1-0. In that game, Lydia Gonzalez had the only goal in the game to give the girls the win. They get right back at it tomorrow. That tournament begins at 8:30 in the morning. For the Texas Longhorns, of course, their season is over, and with that comes the end of an era. And in an emotional farewell video, former Cuero Gobbler Jordan Whittington said goodbye to Longhorn Nation, saying, quote, "Dear Texas, thank you. Every moment I've had here, good or bad, has been a piece in such an important chapter in my life, and it's an honor to say I didn't just play at Texas, I played for Texas," end quote. What a ride it's been for the 2018 state champion. And he's not the only star from the Crossroads who may hear his name called in April. It's also being reported that the star from Hallettsville, Jonathan Brooks, is also expected to declare. Brooks was on pace to maybe be the best running back in the country before tearing his ACL. He should be fully healthy by the start of training camp. Interesting to see where the former Brahma will land when the NFL draft comes around. What an opportunity for the Dallas Cowboys this week. If they win the division. And there's been a lot of talk about how different Dallas is on the road. Well, if they're going to win the division, it will have to be at Washington. Washington has nothing to play for. They're 4-12, but it is the NFL, and crazy things happen all the time. Dallas trying to avoid getting upset this Sunday.
Brought up, I think if you look at that game last year, to me, it's a reflection of this league. I mean, you saw it happen this past weekend, in our league. And yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a reminder. It's been, talked about, addressed, and we have a lot to play for. And I expect our team to go down there and play well, compete at the highest level, and win the game.
Trying to get over those road woes. And while we're talking about the Cowboys, a lot of people wanted them to go after Dalvin Cook when he was released by the Jets. Instead, he's actually signed with the #1 seed Baltimore Ravens. And also, just final, St. Joseph beats Calhoun 3-0 at Yoakum. Donna and Karina, back to you.
Zach, thank you. We're back in a moment. An Indiana high school basketball referee officiated a game at every single gym across the state.
Finally tonight, an Indiana high school basketball referee has officiated a game at every single high school gymnasium across the Hoosier State. Wow. It was the goal of Casey Gaynor to officiate a game at each of Indiana's more than 400 high school gyms. And as of Tuesday night, he has now accomplished that goal. Gaynor's favorite gym, Newcastle, the Hoosier State's biggest. As for what's next, officiating an Indiana State high school basketball finals. And there's one referee who doesn't mind being called for traveling.
Him.
The referee. Yeah, no.
I get it. Wow, I'm supposed to get that.
A lot of traveling.
I did it. Right over my head, man.
At first I thought, okay, he did them all in the city, but that's no big deal. It's the state. That is
That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
Absolutely.
He doesn't even look that old.
No, a lot of gas mileage.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully he got his gas reimbursed or something. Anyway, folks, we've got the rain coming in after midnight tonight. It's out there in West Texas. Should be here by sunrise. It looks a little soggy for your Friday morning. Then by Friday afternoon, it does pull out. The weekend is looking pretty good. And then we've got another front on Monday.
All right. Thank you, Mac. And thanks for joining us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.